I remember being utterly fascinated the first time I heard that you can get polymer clay that is transparent or at least translucent. In this video, we're going to use that translucency to good effect, making a candle holder using supplies from the Fairy Garden Create Along box. Hi there, Sandy Huntress here. So the first thing I did was rolled out some opal polymer clay. This is Primo Opal. And it is really just a transparent or translucent clay with little flecks of mica in here. Well, mylar, not mica. Little flecks of mylar in here. Now it can be a little bumpy and lumpy when you roll it through your pasta machine. So I would suggest you get yourself a piece of paper and just kind of burnish it down before you do your silk screening. You can see I've done half of the silk screening here. This is rolled out on a number 7 on the pasta machine, which is about 7/10 of a millimeter thick. It's pretty thin. And I have here the Ivy Vines silkscreen that came in that Fairy Garden box. I'm going to be covering this candle holder. It's a jar. It's a 2 1/4 inch diameter jar, which is about 8 inches around. So you'll need this much length. I got this at Hobby Lobby. It's only a couple dollars. The silk screen is 4 1/8 inches wide, so 2 repeats will be just enough to go around a 2 1/4 inch jar and make your life a little easier on yourself and get a jar that is straight-sided. It's so much easier to cover. So I'm going to try to line these up a little bit. You're not going to be able to line them up perfectly. The silkscreen isn't designed that way, but I'm going to line up a couple. Like if I line up this one with this one, let's see. Just don't want there to be a big obvious gap, but we're going to add flowers so we can kind of cover that. Make that straight. That'll do. You want the colored side down with these silk screens. Some are orange, these are blue. So just smooth that down. And that's why we wanted to kind of burnish it down a little bit before silk screening so that it wasn't lumpy and you'd get a better design. I'm using just some hunter green paint for the leaves. This would be pretty to do tone on tone as well. So like a white, because you wouldn't see it so much. Maybe if you had a different design that you didn't want to see so much. But once you lit up the candle, you would see more of it. There we go. I'm just using a card. Actually, I want to first open this. This is a good little trick. Oop. Paint crumbs everywhere. Open that. Take your card. Use silk screen, and now you can put that paint right back in the bottle. There. And of course, you want to immediately wash your silk screen so that the paint won't dry in there, because if it dries in there, your silk screen will be ruined. So let's see how well I did matching that. Not too shabby. So we'll let that dry completely and then continue with the project. Once your paint is dry, cut your sheet of clay into a strip that is wide enough to go around your jar. Now this jar is glass, so that can go in the oven. However, the lid is plastic, so I don't want that to go in the oven. However, I do want my clay strip to go right up to this line. So I'm going to leave this on to help me with placement, and then I'll take it off to bake. And this is why a straight-sided jar really is best, because it's very easy. If you use something with some shape, then you might have to bend and stretch. You might have to cut out sections in order to get it to fit. It's just so much more difficult. The opal clay, because it has those little mylar flecks in there, is going to have kind of rough edges. I'd suggest you just embrace it. Just don't worry about it. Now this end was a little messy, so I want to just overlap that. And then trim away the excess. And looks like it got a little wide there at the bottom. That's okay. Actually, oops. All right. I can stretch that a little, make it work. Yeah, it's kind of tricky to trim neatly, just because of those mylar bits. So, let's see. But it looks so pretty when it's lit up with a candle. So just smooth these edges as best you can. Trimming if you need to. I'm going to take off this lid so I don't forget and put that in the oven and come back to find melted lid. Okay, now we can add some flowers to this. For your flowers, you can use any color you like. Roll it out on the thinnest setting of your pasta machine. On mine, it's a number 9 setting, and it's about 3/10 of a millimeter thick. However, that is still a little too thick for what I want to do with these. So you can make it thinner by putting it on a tile, put a piece of paper over it, and then roll over it with an acrylic roller. And you can get it down to even thinner. I like to make little flowers with nice, delicate, thin edges. You can, when it won't roll out anymore, use your blade, lift it up, and you can repeat. Put the paper on, and I actually do more like a rub with the acrylic roller rather than a roll. You can do both. I just want to thin it down even more. Now for this technique, for these kind of 3-dimensional flowers, you'll need little cutters. You can use any flower cutters. This is a cute little set, somewhere around 1/2 inch to 5/8 of an inch in diameter. And for each flower on your candle holder, you're going to cut 2 shapes. I like these ones, this set, because they're just kind of organic, irregular edges, but you can use any little cutters you have. So for each one, cut out 2. Come on. Yeah, well, it's okay. These edges are so detailed. That's fine. And you're going to cut both of them in half. Pick up one of those halves, move this out of the way so you can see. You're going to fold it so those cut edges meet. So fold it in half. And just whoop. So this is a little fiddly, but I do love the way they look. Kind of press those together gently. You don't want to smoosh it. You want a cone. And then place that cone over the end of a ball tool. This is a 6mm or 1/4 inch ball tool and try to kind of flatten that seam so you end up with a cup-shaped flower. Okay, leave that there for the moment. Go back to these petals or flowers that you cut out and cut each 2 of these remaining halves into 3 or 4 pieces each. It kind of depends on the shape of flower that you have. Just wherever natural divisions fall. So like that. So I've got like 6 little pieces here. And we'll use these to give a little bit more dimension to our flower. You're just going to place those around the outside, adding another layer of petals. And don't worry about the back looking messy. This will be up against your candle holder, so you won't see it. Just press it on firmly enough so that it adheres. There. Once you have your flower ready, pick the spot where you want it on your candle holder and add a dab of liquid clay. Now you might be able to get it off the tool just by pressing, or you might have to, don't press too hard because it'll kind of crack and separate. Just use your thumb to gently coax it off. There we go. And you can place it where you want it. Kind of press it down. Don't get stuck again. Here we go. Okay. And then there's this last little half of a flower. And what you'll do with that is cut off some of it. Just cut off maybe, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch. Like that much. Maybe not even quite that much. Take this remaining piece and just roll it up. This is going to be your flower center. Simple enough. Add another little dab of liquid clay and pop in your flower center. Isn't that cute? And add as many of those as you like all around your candle holder. Here are a couple others I made. And these were all made using slightly different shaped cutters from this set. And you can see they all have a pretty similar look. Like this one was made with this one. You can tell the points. These two, I think, were these two. And they're very similar. So it's a fun little technique. One last detail you can add, if you want to, is just to make some little balls or berries. This is the blue-green mica powder that came in the Fairy Garden Create-Along box. And I've taken some of my leftover bits of the opal clay and just rolled them into balls. And you can see they still have the green paint on them. That's fine. So wherever you want to put one of those, add a dab of liquid clay. And what I'm going to do is actually pick it up with a needle tool, dunk it in the mica powder, and then just kind of press it on there. Isn't that cute? And add as many of those as you like. And when you light it, you'll see the leaves and the flowers in silhouette for a truly magical fairy garden look. Again, this is Sandy Huntress for Create Along, wishing you happy creating.